What's up, YouTube? I'm just going to do a discussion video over various cards that I've seen across the multitude of ban lists that we've seen posted. Um, and if these various cards are hit, how it's going to affect the deck and how the deck's going to move on and what we're going to do about it. The first card we've seen across various ban lists is Stratos. You know, every searcher in the game is called a Stratos for a reason. Stratos did it first, and Stratos does it best. We lose the possibility of a search loop. Once you search in Miracle Fusion, you bring him back, you can summon him again. Um, if you get into a mid game after you already have various heroes on the field, he becomes a non-star lightable back row nuker. Typically, it's only like an MST, but every now and then you'll get two. I think I've gotten three once in my life off Stratos. Sure, the deck would suck to lose Stratos. He sort of is that heart and soul of the deck. The deck really doesn't need him, thanks to Rhoda and E-calls and dualities and all that. But it's just, without Stratos, the deck just doesn't feel whole. Is it really going to hurt the playability in the long run? Honestly, no. But it's still a card that we don't want to lose. Duality. I've seen Duality to 2 on some lists. If that happens again, it's not really that big a deal. I've tested it myself, and I know a lot of hero players have, over time, only played 2 Duality. We have Super Polys, we have Miracle Fusions. With Exceeds, we're making plays like that now, and overall, the deck really does special summon a lot. As a stun type player, even playing the type of the build that I am now, the first thing I think of when I think of heroes isn't a lot of specialing. Let's play 3 Duality. But the deck really does do a lot of specials now, so Duality at 2, it's really not going to hurt it. We might lose a little consistency between Alias and Spark, but it's not a big deal. E-call. I've seen E-call to 2. If E-call goes to 2, again, whoop-de-doo. I know a lot of players only play 2. More players play 2 than play 3, from what I've seen. I play 3 in mine simply because it's also free Super Poly bait, but if it's at 2, oh well, it's not really going to hurt the deck. We can just play something else. There's a lot of tech cards that the deck could play, back row help and whatnot, that we would have room to play if various extra cards aren't there. Future Fusion. This one kind of pisses me off. I've never particularly cared for Future Fusion in Heroes outside of like Diamond Dude, Absolute Zero Turbo. But here, finally, I decide to start playing Future Fusion. I fall in love with the card a month before the ban list. I mean, I kind of fucked that one up. Maybe I should have never played it to like the card to begin with. The problem with Future Fusion lies with mostly like Chaos Dragons. People are like, oh, but heroes are ridiculous in the OCG. Heroes are that rogue deck. It's like, when TG or Dark World, won YCSs. That's pretty much what Heroes winning their Nationals was. It was a fluke. The rogue deck came out on top. Yes, you can play Zephyros and get Future Fusion off to fill the grave for Miracle twice. Set up your Hero Blasts and things. Yes, you could go so far as to play Plague, and so you can then go into Bryo and bounce Future Fusion a bunch, and there used to be a Quasar, first turn Quasar with Future Fusion play. I'm pretty sure that one's disappeared since Glow Up Bulb gone. In terms of heroes, I honestly don't think Future Fusion is a problem at all. The card will go pretty much thanks to dragons. I still think it should be 5-God just so dragons can't abuse it, but everybody else can use it. But it is what it is. If Future Fusion doesn't go, I think we'll all shit ourselves. For like my particular build, maybe a Foolish instead, just to put an Alias in the grave for Hero Blast. Probably not even that. If Future Fusion's gone, I think Future Fusion's just gone, and we have space in the deck. I've seen lists that put Miracle Fusion to 1. I think above every other card that could possibly be hit, Miracle Fusion would be the worst one for the deck. Miracle's like the key play. I mean, it's what we do to win. With one Miracle, it's just going to get warninged, or the monster's going to get bottomless or torrential, and it just sort of sucks. If Miracle goes to 1, the deck will be very, very, very hurt. In a way that hitting any or everything else couldn't even come close to. I really don't think it's going to happen. Heroes, again, has never been a problem in the past, and honestly isn't a problem now. So I don't think they're going to hit Miracle. If they were going to hit another fusion card, it would be Super Poly. I've seen that on lists. I doubt that's going to happen as well. If Miracle Fusion gets hit, okay, we still have 3 Super Poly. You know, we just sort of go back into a stun variant, which is what I'm very accustomed to playing, and could just play Super Poly so we can steal our opponent's shit. If Super Poly goes, it's not a big deal. Most of us hero players in the past never played Super Poly, or maybe tried one, or we sided a pair. It's only been recently that I've begun maining 3. I was doing that even before Scuriato. Slightly in prep for Scuriato, but all the tournaments that I went to before he was released this past week, Super Poly would just put in tons of work. I wish I had been doing it sooner. It's not a big deal if Super Poly gets hit, you know, whoop-de-doo. Last 2 cards from the main deck that have had discussion getting hit are Heavy and Reborn. They both pretty much fall into the same category. They're power cards that cycle in and out of formats. If they go, they go. If they stay, they stay. If Heavy's gone, okay, we get to play a lot more back row. We get to play it safer. If Heavy's gone, I mean, we know Chaos Dragons are going to be gone because Red Eyes is almost a given, as well as Future Fusion. So it will be safe to play mained MSTs again since you're not going to have them dead against the Chaos Dragon matchup. But with Heavy gone, the amount of back row that we'll get to see play will almost make triple MST in the main a necessity. And then Reborn, you know, again, if it's there, it's there. If it's not, it's not. We still have triple Call the Haunted, so if you really want your graveyard, just play Call instead. Reborn's just a power card. I could care less either way with it. One card from the extra deck that I've seen Shining at 2. I've discussed before how, you know, if you're only playing 2 Shining, there's inevitably going to be a game or few that you lose over the course of time because you couldn't go into a 3rd Shining. You know, oh well. I've been sort of testing around with some OCG type extra decks. Once we have Emerald, it won't be that big of a deal to play less numbers of the fusions. I'm pretty much down to 1 of everything except Shining in the extra deck now anyways. You know, it is what it is. If we lose it, we lose it. We might lose a couple of games over the course of the format for not having a 3rd one to go into, but oh well. This next section that I'm going to talk about is things that the deck could begin to start using again. The first one I really wasn't even planning or thinking about talking about as I was going through my binder pulling out things for this video. I saw it and sort of gave it a second thought again, and that's Utopia. You know, when Xyz first came out, Utopia was staple across the board. Really is. He's awesome. He's 25. He's light. He's honestable. You know, he allows for stall. You can negate attacks with him. The problem was when Chaos Utopia was released. With Chaos Utopia and Mind Control, you were always scared to go into Utopia if they hadn't played Mind Control yet. There were plenty of people that, while they even didn't play Utopia, they played Chaos Utopia. Simply because they knew their opponent might go into it, and they have Mind Control in the deck. So it was a way to steal and create pluses. I haven't played either of the cards in a long time. They fell out of favor for me. I was running out of room in the extra deck anyways. I kind of had this inkling that if you're playing Utopia, you should be playing Ray as well, especially because I play Mind Control. But they've fallen out of favor across the board. I haven't seen Chaos Utopia in an extra deck in a very, very, very long time. And with him pretty much out of the way, I think it would be safe to bring Utopia back. The only problem is, with the amount of Exceeds there are to choose from, as well as the amount of the extra deck that's taken up by the fusions, it's going to be really hard-pressed to find room. But if I can, he very certainly, I think, has re-earned the possibility of being a card in my extra deck. The next 2 cards are pretty much replacements for Bubblemen. Because if you're playing them, Bubbleman becomes extremely inconsistent. I have a couple of friends that play a build very similar to mine, and that's what they do. Instead of Diamond Dude and the Bubbleman, they play an Ocean, Gores, and Honest. I honestly don't, no pun intended, honestly don't care about Honest. In these low monster count builds, I particularly don't care for it. But Gores, on the other hand, I really, really, really want to be playing Gores in these low monster count builds. Only problem is they conflict with Bubblemen, and that's why the other guys play like One Ocean, and then like the Honest instead of Bubbles. So really, it becomes a toss-up. Is the protection of Gores worth losing the power plays the Bubblemen create? You guys know I don't play Bubbleman Turbo, Bubble Beat. I don't like that. But I do think Bubbleman at 2, like I play it, really opens up options for the deck. Part of me would hate to lose those options to accommodate Gores, but at the same time, Gores is such a power card. Is it worth it? That's something I need to debate a lot more, and something I need to test a lot more. Gores would make up for As the Dark instead of Diamond Dude as well, for possible main deck Miracle Fusions. Gores is just great. The only problem is the confliction that it creates with Bubblemen, and I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I've seen lists that put Book of Moon to 2. If Book of Moon goes to 2, I will most certainly be playing it again. When I cut the one Book of Moon from my builds, it was probably the most awkward feeling of my life. Book was pretty much always been my favorite support card. I was playing 3 in Hero Stun right before Shining was released, in that 1 month of samurai craziness. The card's awesome. The format does need to slow down a little bit, and I think bringing Book to 2 would be the thing to do it. And I have seen that on lists, so that was kind of cool. I would get to make the second kid as Death Note as well to main deck. But if Book is at 2, it will most certainly, both copies will be back in my deck. I've seen lists that put Mirror Force to 2. What the hell's the guy's name? For some reason I'm spacing. He's pretty much, like the Japanese. I call him the Japanese Kevin Tewart. He's usually always got the list. It was on one of his lists that I saw Mirror Force at 2. If Mirror Force is at 2 in the same format with the Double Torrential and Dark Hole, I'm going to be really, really shitty. That format's probably going to suck. I mean, I'll still play it because I love the game. I would abuse it as well. Mirror Force is sort of like Book of Moon. A lot of people don't really play it anymore. If it goes to 2, it will most certainly be back as a double staple across the board. I've seen Magic Cylinder to 3. Quite frankly, if Magic Cylinder goes to 3, I will play 3 Magic Cylinder at least one major event somewhere across the format. Magic Cylinder is an awesome troll card. It is at 1, it is at 2, it is at 3. At 3, it's just absolutely ridiculously trolly. It becomes a win condition in and of itself. Alternate win conditions usually have consistency issues, especially if they're trying to tech in amongst main deck win conditions for anything. But with heroes and the way that I play the deck and whatnot, this is an alternate win condition that doesn't fuck with consistency of anything else. Really pisses people off, and if that goes to 3, I see a lot of rage in the format when you see double Mirror Force, triple Magic Cylinder. Let's see, I got 3 more things to talk about here. The first one is bland draw power. For example, Legacy Yatagarasu. There is a build that I will be showing you guys come turn of the format. I will be playing it, but I can't really reveal it until we see exactly how the ban list hits it, so that I can make those final tweaks to the deck. But having lots of bland draw power to get into things like Miracle Fusion, Gemini Spark, and Super Poly is amazing for the deck. It becomes what becomes the ratio is finding how many of them you want to play and what you want to cut for them. And like I said, I will be showing you guys a build. It's essentially Turbo Hero. So expect to see that from me. It does do extremely, extremely well. Another card I've seen is Sinister Serpent. Sinister Serpent would be awesome. I saw this on the same list that cut Miracle Fusion to 1. And that sort of makes up for Miracle Fusion being at 1, because if you play Sinister Serpent in the deck anyways, you get a free discard for Super Poly, which means everything else that's in your hand gets to stay live. So that's pretty cool. If Sinister Serpent's back, I feel like it's going to see play in like every deck just because it's Sinister Serpent. But honestly, I don't think there's much in the format that could abuse it besides Heroes getting that free ditch with Super Poly. Um, I'm probably overlooking some very obvious things, but Sinister Serpent I honestly don't think would hurt the game at all right now either. It's cool. Now the final thing, I have a lot of cards here. Um, I saw this is from our guy in Japan, Debris Dragon at 2. Now people are like, "Oh my God, Debris Dragon at 2 plants." No, if Debris Dragon comes back to 2, it's not because of plants. It's because chances are good they're banning Brio. At which point Atlanteans need gun gear um, to trigger all their effects and be abused as fuck. So Debris Dragon would be at 2 for that. But if Debris Dragon comes back to 2, I would be tempted to have some fun with Debris Hero again. I've mentioned before in videos in the past, I didn't find out about Debris Hero. I didn't hear about it until after Debris got hit to 1. And even at 1, I did a lot of testing with it, and the deck was still viable, even with Debris at 1. But on the same thing that had Debris at 1, it had Spore back. So I kind of had this idea of like, okay, you got Debris, you got Spore, Lone Fire, Dandy, Light Sworn Engine. Because the whole point of Debris Hero is to mill, so you have like the Light Sworn Engine involved, you have Card Troopers for beats and mill and draw power. And you just fill the grave with heroes, and then you Miracle Fusion, and then you do a little bit of synchro tricks with like this guy, and he's going to give you access to gun gear with your Snowman Eaters that are going to be in the deck. So this is a really fun variant that I had really good success with, even once Debris was at 1. But if Debris goes back to 2, I will most certainly try to play the deck again and have some fun with it. So that's the discussion for today. Let me know what you guys think. Comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Peace out.